Hey Kendra, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I know I'm so glad because I know we've been talking and I work with usually new entrepreneurs who are trying to get all the things figured out. And it seems like you have gotten a really good handle on social media and how to grow your business using social media effectively.
It depends on the
So,
day, but yes.
yeah, well, there are going
Yeah,
to be seasons of it, right?
of course. Yes. It's an
But I
ever roller coaster ride we're on.
But I feel like that is one of the things that is hardest as a new entrepreneur is figuring out because it's not just about I want to show my cat or my dog anymore. It's
Yeah.
how do I position myself to be an authority, to be that person that everyone wants to come to for the solution that I'm offering. And that is a whole different ball game than showing the birthday cakes and the cats and the dogs and your cute kids on Instagram or Facebook or wherever else you're posting, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So, how do you even get started with Instagram? Because that's your specialty, right? Kind of
It is.
Instagram.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
How do you get started doing that, knowing that it can't take over your life?
Well, that's the magic question. I would say, okay, so for someone who is maybe transitioning from I've used it for my personal, I now want to
Mhm.
use it for my business. The first thing I would say you need to do is you need to make it very clear in your bio what you do and how you help people. Because this is a big mistake I see a lot of people make is they take a profile that used to be, for showing off your cat, and
Yes.
so it's like, I'm cat lover Sarah, and I, fur baby mom to so and so, coffee lover, Jesus lover, like all the things. And we're like, that's great. But when someone's coming to your Instagram account because they want your help in
Mhm.
something, whatever it is, whether you're selling a product or a service,
Mhm.
or you're just an influencer of some kind, they want to know what's in it for me. And so coming to your
Yeah.
bio, and if it's like mom to Jake and Sarah, coffee lover, and marathon runner times three, that's beautiful for you. It has nothing to do with how you can help me. So, so happy for you. However,
Mhm.
you need to change that to say who you serve and how you serve them. So if you go to mine, it's very clear that it's like, I help moms
Mhm.
make business feel manageable, taking
Mhm.
out like the chaos and the stress, like
Mhm.
simplified. Like my title is Simplified Marketing Strategies. It's
Mhm.
very clear that I help moms who have a business and want to keep things as simple and as, you know, organized as possible.
Oh, so that brings up a really great point there. I love that you're being super specific. I think I also agree that you have to be very specific. But I'll hear from some clients as they're building businesses, but I don't want to leave out the dads.
Mm.
And you just said I help moms. So tell me a little bit more about that. Do you serve, would you be willing to serve dads? And if you are, do you just kind of leave them out of it still because you're primarily serving moms? How does that work?
Yeah. So this was something that was a huge like light bulb moment in my
Mhm.
business was when I really understood the idea of like an ideal client avatar and the idea that like you really need to, the more you niche down, this seems so counterintuitive, but
Mhm.
it really works. The more that you like laser focus on something, the more you're going to attract people. An example I really like is there's an account that I follow, and it's I'm trying to I can't even think of the name of it right now, but she does like wall murals, but
Ooh.
all of her wall murals, and she does them for like businesses, people who want like a statement wall for people to come
Mhm.
take Instagram photos of. And but it's all she does is like these really cool like floral wall murals. And she'll even say like people have asked me to do other things and I'm willing to do them, but when you come here, what I specialize in is floral wall murals. I
Okay.
can't say that word correctly. Um, and so but like, and I don't have a need for a giant flower on my wall, but I follow her because I'm like, this is fascinating and they're
Mhm.
beautiful. And maybe someday I might want one.
Mhm.
But like, that's an example of like a really niche specific thing. So back to your question of like, am I going to eliminate other people when I do that? Yes and no. So yes, you do want to eliminate some people because you are not for everybody, and that is okay. So the more clear you make it of like, this is who I'm for and this is who I'm not for, the more likely you're going to have like a really dedicated audience. Now, does that mean that you're not going to have other people coming in and going like, do you offer this? Or could you maybe do this for me? So like I talk a focus on moms. One of my best coaching clients I've ever had is, I mean, I guess technically she's a mom, but her kids are grown and out of the house and have been for a while. She's in like second phase of life of like retirement, wanting to start a new business, that whole thing. Not the typical mom of like young school age kids that I tend to market towards.
Right.
But we really connected and she loved working with me. So the more focused you get, you funnel people into this idea of like, this is who I want to work with. But it's also almost like this spider web effect of, well, they have some attachment. So you mentioned like the dad's thing. If it's a dad who works from home with his young kids and the same strategies apply, the more the merrier. Come on in. But if it's a dad who goes every day into an office at a corporate job and like wears a suit and tie, I have nothing to offer you. So, so you're in the wrong place. And he's going to know that when he gets to my account. So yeah, be specific. It will turn some people off, but it will also attract more of the people you want to have in your realm.
And I think that's the key point. Yes, it may turn some people away, but that's what you want. You want to know that if you're looking at that follower count, which is still a vanity metric, let's be honest, you're looking at that follower account. If 99% of them are actually the people you want to work with, you are in such a better position to share and to share your offer every once in a while with them.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. We don't want just the followers because you had the really cute, funny reel that had nothing to do with your business.
And that happens so often as people, especially when this may be a question further down that you get to, but when people were doing a lot of the really trendy reels and they were just kind of hopping on like a dance trend because it was the thing to do and it had nothing to do with their business. And they would get tons of followers and they'd be like, well, why is no one engaging with my content? Well, because half your followers came because you did a silly dance. They don't care that you're now giving marketing advice. They're there to see you dance on a reel. Like,
yeah. So does that mean I don't have to dance on reels? Please say yes.
Yes,
Please.
1000% yes. You do not have to dance unless you absolutely love doing it and want to do it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head there. The trendy reels are great for getting eyeballs, but it may not be the right eyeballs. It might not be the person who's in that position to need you right now or even ever.
Yeah.
You know, maybe if they need you in 3 or 6 months, that's great. But if they don't ever need you, then
yeah. To me, it's not that our followers are limited, but I like to think of it kind of like that of like, I don't know, I'm a very visual person. So I picture like an egg carton and each egg is a follower, you know, and every time there's an egg in there that does not belong, or, you know, I don't know, it's a plastic Easter egg instead of an actual egg I can use and cook with. Then I'm like, no, get rid of the plastic fake egg and put in a real egg, because that plastic fake egg, if I fill half of my egg carton with plastic fake eggs that I can't do anything with, then what good is it having a carton of plastic eggs in my fridge? Yep. I want to remove those, eliminate those, and fill them in with eggs I can actually do something with. By the way, I just came up with this analogy on this call and I'm going to use this again because that felt really good.
I'm sitting here thinking, man, this is great. I could imagine going to the fridge, ready to make some banana chocolate chip muffins, pulling out the egg carton and seeing all of these plastic Easter eggs and thinking, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
This does not help me.
Nope, not at all.
Nope. I love it. It's brilliant. I'm so glad that you're going to use it again. It's so clear. Oh, I love those moments of, and you know, that's kind of goes back to when you do your bio. You got to be clear, but it might take some tries to get there, or it might take that moment of inspiration.
Yeah.
To get there.
And I so inspiration's a good point there, because I love to go look at what other people have in their bios. And not that I want to like steal what they
No.
have, but sometimes you see, because we are limited on that character space, you know, you have to get creative because they only give you like what, 150 characters or something to work
Yeah.
with. And so you have to make sure that like you're making the most of that space. And so you finding creative ways to word something or to phrase it or to bullet point, however you need to do it. Sometimes we need to go and see how others in our niche or other niches have done it. So don't be afraid to go and spy on some other people and be like, okay, how are they wording this? Or how are they able to condense what they do down into like a single phrase? And then take inspiration from that. Maybe just like keep a running record on a notepad or in your phone on your notes app and be like, okay, I like how this person said it. I like how this person said it. And I like how this one worded this. And then see if you can kind of combine those to create your own version of something that someone else may look at and go, wow, that was really genius. I'm going to do something similar to that too. But play with it. The nice thing with your bio, the actual bio text, there's no limit on how often you change that.
I know, it's beautiful.
It's so nice. And so you can go in every day and tweak it if you want to. Now, the title line, that bolded line, you can only change that twice in 14 days.
Right.
Right? Yes. So you want to make sure that, and I think if you're verified, it's even more than that. Like if you have the little blue check thing, it's even like longer. So you want to make sure that it is the way you want it and that you have enough characters, like it's just the right length. Because once it's done, like if you change it again, you're locked in for 14 days. And I know someone who like changed his, had a typo and couldn't change it for like 30 days because he was verified.
Oh no.
So he had to go with, well, I mean, it drummed up a lot of engagement because people were commenting like, did you mean to misspell this in your title? And he's like, nope, but thanks for messaging me.
That's a great pinned post. Yes, I know it's wrong.
Exactly.
It is not what I intended. Let this be a lesson to you when you are updating your social profiles.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, that I think comes back to social media is an ever evolving thing. And the way you show up on social media can evolve as well. It doesn't have to be the same day to day or even month to month or year to year. You get to grow with it. You get to decide where your comfort zone ends, where you're willing to step out of it, and just kind of how far you want to push yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so I come from a teaching background. And so I apply a lot of what I learned and what I used in the classroom to social media. And I always think of like when you're in the classroom, and I taught second grade for a long time. So you would have these kids coming in who were, some were on like a kindergarten reading level, some were on a fourth or fifth grade reading level. You had this crazy mix. And some people were really like auditory learners or visual learners or kinesthetic learners. And so you had to find a way to not only meet them where they were at, but also to speak to them in a variety of ways, you know, so that like they could absorb it the way they absorb it. And I apply the same thing to social media is I'm like, well, and also the fact that when you teach kids, you have to repeat yourself a lot. And so like with social media, I say the same things multiple times in different ways. Sometimes it's, you know, in a carousel versus a reel versus a story versus like in my highlights or whatever. And then also like, so doing it multiple times, but then reaching them in a variety of ways, because some people are going to come to your feed and they love seeing like static images with like a great quote. Some people are going to only watch reels when they go onto Instagram. So if you're not sharing reels, they're not going to see you. Some people like me, I go in there and the first thing I do is I scroll through the stories. And so if I don't see you in my stories very often, I probably am going to forget about you a little bit. So staying active in your stories. So just kind of trying to hit all the different, like what I call neighborhoods of Instagram really helps you to appeal to everybody sort of where they're at and how they consume content on the app.
Okay, that sounds great, but how do you have time for that?
It's so repurposing and recycling your content. So I am a big believer in like what I said before. I like to keep things simple. And so I will reuse content that I've had before. So I focus a lot on quality over quantity. Some people argue differently. They're like, post daily and often, all the things. I'm like, no, I'd rather just share something really valuable and like really solid and kind of what I call like my evergreen content that can kind of live on the platform for a while. And I know for me, like my audience, primarily, they really engage well with carousel posts and stories. Those are my two places. Like carousel posts and stories are my two. I do reels. I do some static posts. I don't do a ton of lives, and it's not my thing, but those are the two that they really connect with. And so I focus a lot of my energy there. When I'm like, I need to create a reel. I haven't done a reel in a week or two. Like, let me create something. I don't try to recreate something out of the blue. I go back to the carousels that I've created, or I go back to the stories that I've done where people were like, I really loved this. A perfect example is earlier this week, I posted a carousel that was talking all about, the Stanley tumbler, like the big okay. So they're all over the internet right now. So I had seen a post where they were talking about kind of the marketing strategy of the Stanley tumblers. And I started reading like articles and sort of the backstory of why they're as popular as they are. And I took that information and turned it into a carousel. And I was like, here's the story. Here's what we can take away from it, the marketing strategy. And then today I was like, I should probably make a reel. I haven't done a reel in a couple of days. Well, why not make a reel off of that carousel that did really well? Because people are interested in it, they connect with it. Now you just got to take it and turn it into a reel. And the beauty of reels right now, at the time of recording this, it could change totally soon. You never know. But it's that original content is doing better than some of the trending audios.
Ooh.
Yeah. So people, I think, are getting bored with, how like if you scroll through reels or TikTok, it's like the same sound over and over. And you're just kind of like, really? Like how many different ways can we see somebody do this one dance or this one voiceover? What stops your scroll is when something comes up that's different. And using original audio, which just means like you talking to the camera, just like you would doing a story, turn your story into a reel and share that. Take like I said, my carousel post, and I'm basically just going to whatever was written in the post, I'm going to say it on a video and turn it into a reel and add some captions and subtitles or whatever. But it really is that simple, and that grabs people's attention.
So then I know at one point, I have no idea if this is still true. It was good idea if you were talking to the camera, if you were talking on your reel, that you add in trending audio and turn it way down so that it would show up. You could kind of hear it, but it wasn't the main thing. So am I correct in thinking now you're saying leave that off, just let it be you and go with it?
Yeah.
At the time of this recording, let's be really clear.
Yes, like timestamp it. You never know. But because what happens when you add, the reason people are doing that is when you add the trending audio, it adds your video to that audio page. And the idea was that it was, if you were on, like, let's say there was a audio that had 3,000 uses, like pretty low amount of uses. If you were one of the first ones to start using it and it took off, you would be on that audio page and you get a little more visibility. And yes, you would get more visibility. Again, is it visibility you really want? Because you don't have any control over who's using that audio or seeing it. You're just getting more views. Are they really views that matter? Whereas if you just use your audio, like you talking, no trending audio behind it, Instagram has the technology is crazy. The technology can detect what you're saying. I mean, it does it when you create the captions, like the little auto-generated captions. It knows what you're saying, and it uses your own words to create basically like SEO for your content. So if I'm talking about a marketing strategy and it's all about like, I don't know, let's say the marketing strategy is sharing results versus the journey, or results versus the actual specifications of your product or service.
Right.
And I use like a certain word over and over and over, results, then it's going to recognize that as like a key word. And now it's going to add that in there. Or if I use the word mompreneur fairly often in my content, it's going to know she's talking to mompreneurs. Let's push this out to people who are interested in that topic or fit into that niche. Right. So it's using more of kind of that SEO thing and less about how can we connect our content to things that really have no connection to what we actually are wanting to focus on.
You are speaking my language. I love that concept of SEO and really letting what you're doing work for you.
Yes.
Letting it do so much more of the heavy lifting, because we can go on to Instagram and search for something and we can find it. And Instagram's going to start serving us more of that stuff that we've been searching for. There's no reason you shouldn't show up with that. If that's, where you're supposed to be, let it happen.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So if SEO can help us, I feel like then it can save us a lot of time when we're creating our Instagram, our social content. And that means that we get to be really, really focused in what we do. So let's see. I want to bring this all together because I know you're a mom. I'm a mom. I don't have a whole lot of extra time. I can't spend 30 hours a week on social media.
Oh, yeah,
I don't have it.
Yeah.
No. Nor do I want to. Let's be really honest here. So I've got to be super focused. What I'm hearing you say is that we can repurpose content, kind of come up with content pillars maybe that we're using over and over again, saying it different ways, putting it out in different ways, and really being intentional using those words that we want to be associated with our business.
Yep.
Over and over and over, so that we can actually let the platform work for us in those extra, 29 hours that we don't want to be on social media. It can work hard for 29 hours and we can focus for an hour.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think, and there's a lot of ways that you can utilize things like tools to help you with that. So I'm a big fan of planning out your content in advance. So batch creating, scheduling content. I know a lot of people are like, well, schedule it but you're supposed to be on and engage. And yes, absolutely. I agree with that. Okay. However, for me, and I think you have to know how you work best. For me, I work best if I can sit down one day, go into Canva, create the content and schedule it out. And then I'm like, okay, I know that each day around this time, I'm going to hop on Instagram and I'm going to engage and I'm going to respond to comments, or I'm going to get on my stories and try to boost this up a little higher. Like I'm going to do these things, and it becomes habit once you get used to it. But having the scheduling tool, and you can do it all through Meta if you choose to. I use one called Metricool because it allows me to do like, are you familiar with it?
I am.
Yes, it's so great. And it has like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, Pinterest. And so you can take one piece of content, post it to all the platforms and have it be different on each platform and different. I mean, all the things. It's great. And then the analytics too. And so I am a big, like I said, batch creating content, scheduling out your content, repurposing, and then just resharing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with going back to a post that did really well 3 months ago and repost the exact same post, because most of the time your audience doesn't remember it. They may not have even seen it the first time in the first anyway. So it'll feel like, and the people who do recognize it, they're going to be like, oh, look, that's pretty smart. I forgot about that. Like, let me, that was a great reminder.
Yes. A lot of times we feel like everything has to be original to us every single time it goes out, when the fact is that most people don't see what we're posting the first time. They aren't going to remember it down the road. Or even if they do, one of the things I always try and keep in mind is that they are coming to it with a different mindset. 3 months later, they're at a different place than they were. Yeah. So they're going to hear it, see it, interpret it differently than they did before.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with using it again.
Yes.
Especially if it had a lot of engagement. That tells you it's good. People need it and want it.
And that's why I love using Canva to create my content, because I don't even have to go in and like re-download it from the app. I know there's ways you can do that. I just go into Canva. Like I go into my analytics on the app. I figure out which post is done really well. I go into Canva, download it, post it, grab the same caption or what else, stick it on there. I'll tweak the caption a little bit, but I'm not having to go back and recreate it or try to like download or screenshot and that kind of stuff. It's already saved in Canva as its own little file. And I kind of group them into little folders by the month that I posted them. So that I know like, oh, okay, I posted that. It's February. I posted that one back in November. It's been long enough. I can reshare that one again.
Okay. That is brilliant. I hadn't thought to my Canva, in all honesty, is a royal mess. It's not the way I usually organize things, but Canva is this abyss of stuff for me.
It can be, yeah.
I love your
Absolutely.
idea of using folders by the month. I hadn't thought to do that. I'll organize big projects that way, but not necessarily my social, which just tends to litter my Canva.
Yeah, and I have to be careful too, because sometimes I'll use the same template to create, like if I'm like, oh, I really like this template, and then it's normal for me to want to go and just be like type over it. I'm like, no, I have to make a copy because I might want to save that one again. So just remember, if you're using the same template over and over again, make a copy each time.
Very good tip. Very good
Yeah.
tip. Oh my gosh. So thank you so much, Kendra. I cannot believe all of the amazing tidbits you've shared today. And, starting with that bio, getting laser clear on who you serve, how you're helping them, that it is no longer about the fact that you drink coffee, unless you are like teaching people how to pick out good coffee and drinking coffee. And that's important.
Right.
That it's okay to niche or niche down, however you say it. And that's actually a good thing, because now we've got just the people in our world who are actually going to benefit from what it is we're offering. And it's okay to say no to other people. It's okay for them to say no to you. It has nothing to do with you. It's not a personal thing.
Exactly.
And then really creating content in a way that you share it for all of the different types of learners out there, that we can use the carousels, the static posts, the videos, the lives, the stories, the reels, and it can all be the same message. But because it's different in its delivery, it becomes different.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, making sure that we go back to the egg carton, making sure that really the people we're attracting are truly what we need and want inside our business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think all of this will actually save a whole lot of time, honestly.
It will. And like I said, it takes practice to get things to become a habit and a rhythm that you're settle into. Yeah. And so, especially if you're starting out and you're like, okay, this is all really good information. It's a lot coming at me at one time. I don't want you to feel like you have to do all of these things like immediately.
Okay.
Start with getting your bio, and then start with creating evergreen content, that kind of those pillar pieces of content are the things you want to talk about. Create, a good set of those, and then start sort of repurposing them in different various ways, and then just let the snowball effect take over. And once you have little habits in place, little things that become part of your routine, then it feels easier to add in one more thing instead of trying to add, change or add up 5 different things on Instagram at one time. Just do one little thing and then let it kind of build on that.
And remembering that this is not an overnight success story. It won't be. There are some people that have randomly, but that is not the vast majority. That is not 99.99% of experiences. It takes time. You have to be consistent, whether that's every day or it's a couple of days a week or once a week where you provide a lot of value. It's about providing the value and being consistent in a way that works for you, and knowing that it takes time. It takes time.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Kendra, for your time today and for sharing your wisdom with our listeners, especially around Instagram, and really making the most of your time in creating content. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much. It's been really fun. I appreciate you having me on.
You're welcome. Thank you.